Potatoes up there on the one you make sure thing.
Michael,
Yes.
did you have surgery? Did you cut yourself?
Change in chemo last week turned into a little blood pressure and morning pass out, fall down. You had the bookcase, sliced it open to 9 stitches.
Oh,
Oh my gosh, Mike, I'm sorry to hear that. Jeez.
Right.
That was before the snow, I don't, right?
Yes,
Oh,
we got home just in time for the snowstorm.
Oh, thank goodness.
But,
oof.
no, worked out. Had better weekends. Yeah.
Yeah,
Had
I
start
can
on-
imagine.
head start on things. Okay, well, we'll jump right into the meeting since there's no carrying of it. Welcome to the January 28th Conservation Commission meeting at the Bellingham Municipal Center at their CAM meeting room. This meeting is for the 20th of January, and we have 2 members online, so we will do roll call voting. And we will proceed with the first item on the agenda. It's a continued hearing for notice of intent. The Lakeview Ave, construction of a single family home within the buffer zone to BVW. Corey Development is the applicant, Seth LaJoy and Associates is the representative, and I believe we have a request from the applicant.
They're requesting to continue to the next meeting, which is on
February 25th.
Yeah.
So they've requested a continuation. Not a big surprise, I guess they're continuing to meet and it's not like they're stonewalling things or whatever. There's some progress, I guess, maybe being made, but it's on the planning board side of things, I think so.
Board of Health.
Board of Health, okay. Some other board other than ours, which has done everything we need to do at this point in time. So since we don't need to have any discussion about it, the applicant's not here, they made the request. I'll take a motion. Make it.
So moved.
Seconded.
I just said I'll take a motion. I didn't say what the motion was, so somebody could, a
Oh,
little more wordage would be helpful. A motion
Motion to continue Lakeview Ave.
to 25th of February. Thank you. Steve, a first and Don seconded. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Any discussion? Not, but, okay, all in favor, James.
Aye.
And Steve.
Aye.
Ariane.
Aye.
Aye. Pam
Aye.
and Don.
aye,
And aye. Okay, and vote
aye.
to the 25th of February. I might have to make the announcement right now, so if people are wondering, we have this, we will be taking a formal, right? Yeah, then we actually have to make a motion to do that. Yeah. It's just good. I think we discussed, as we discussed at the last meeting, we will be, only having 1 meeting in February and that will be on the 25th. The February 11th meeting is, then canceled. All right, so moving on to the next item on the agenda. Abbreviated notice of intent for 375 Maple Street. If you'd like to bump us at the table here, that'd be great. If you don't have enough chairs, right, drag another chair. If we're not formal, just make sure you can all sit up there if you want to. If you don't want to, that's fine, but feel free. Thank you. So we have an after fact approval for regrading and removal of 2 large pine trees within the buffer zone to BVW. Renata Faraz, is Faraz the right? Thank you, and Adamar? Edmund, thank you. Are the applicants and Robert Ferenti is the representative. Welcome. If you, as you just introduce yourself, so for the record, that'd be great. I identified you, but if you, as you're speaking first time.
My name's Edmar Moller.
Thank you. Go ahead and present yourself.
Okay, my name is Renata Firas.
Welcome.
These are the owners of the property, and my name is Bob Parenti. I'm the engineer
Okay, what firm?
and surveyor.
What firm are you with, Chad?
I'm semi-retired,
Oh,
so
okay. Just working
I used to
on
be Central Mass Engineering in Marlboro back in the day.
Okay, so freelancing, that's fine. Yeah, just, we haven't seen you before, so it's different firm.
I do a lot of Marlboro, Southboro, Northboro,
Great. Okay,
but Adam is a friend of mine, so
Great.
I designed the septic system, which he already has in, so.
Okay,
And then Hannah came up with the question of the previous fill, so that's why we're here tonight.
right.
I have a colored, are you gonna be able to bring that plan up, Hannah, on the thing
Yes.
for us? I got a colored version, if anybody wanted to, was having trouble reading what.
Put one right there.
Sure, yeah.
I know that James, you look online and want to.
It's the 50 and the 100 you have piled on, right?
Yes. Yep.
That's-
Yeah, so I just kind of highlighted the, yeah, pick that
Thank
one.
you.
Highlighted the 50 and the 100, so. I kind of had to estimate where I thought the the yard might have been back before they built the pool. I think the bill that is there now that we are filing for, it's about 65, is that 64 feet? Yeah.
64, yeah.
64 feet off the BVW. I had a guy from Hudson, Dave Crossman, he went out and flagged the wetlands for us. He works on the B&C Associates. He's been doing this for about 40 years.
When you say you had to estimate where the yard was before the pool was put in, why is that?
It was, because I just got involved a
Oh,
couple
sure,
months
okay,
ago.
so you didn't have a set of plans when the pool was put in,
Correct.
okay, just for the record, just making sure people.
Yeah, I don't think they probably didn't file because they probably didn't know.
Pool's been there for a while.
And the woods is pretty heavily vegetated, so. When I first went out to do the septic design and stuff, I didn't think, I knew they were getting close to 100 foot, but I didn't, have exact measurements until we flagged the wetlands.
And originally the septic was proposed a little bit closer, so it was just
So the
pushing
ori-
that 100.
The original septic was probably right at the 100, it was a little bit further to the west. The existing leaching trenches, so we have pulled
Back.
the leaching trenches, yeah, a little bit closer to Maple Street.
Okay.
To avoid the pool, and all the other stuff in the yard, so, and to work with the driveway that he had, so. This plan represents, what I think is the amount of, work that was done in the buffer zone.
Gotcha. Is everything completed and revegetated and so forth? I don't know when this is.
So the yard area, so.
Well, whatever areas, you said you did, that's the area you estimate that's been disturbed, and I just wanted to make sure I
Oh,
know.
that's been revegetated over a course of 4 or 5 years, yeah.
Okay, just making sure,
Yeah,
again, for the
yeah.
record, just. It's not just having been done like this fall or something. Okay, sorry, anything else?
So I think when Hannah was out there, she noticed a couple of pine trees that had been cut
Mhm.
that were. Just to the west of where I didn't locate those on the plan,
Oh, okay,
but they're right where it says limit of strip area, right where just over the fence. They were like 3 or 4 feet over his existing fence.
about where those are at.
And
And-
the fence is pretty much defining the top of the slope now,
Okay.
and the edge of his yard, so.
Existing chaining for cuts, yeah, I'm just trying to make sure I see the right one.
So, oh, yeah, I can go right ahead, I think, Adam, I didn't correct me, but I think the pine trees are like right near this. The X is the fence, the chain link fence, and I think the pine trees are like right here.
Yeah, it's pretty close in there.
Okay,
And the branches are starting to affect the pool and stuff, so. And again, he didn't realize that,
I saw
He was
one
subject-
picture that one of the aerials that had was summertime when I think when the pines were there and hadn't been cut yet. That one of them was large enough to look like a shaded part of the pool.
yeah,
So they must have been pretty big pines, yeah.
No, the reason I cut those two trees down is because the branches start falling apart and
Mhm.
hit in my yard, and my daughter play in the yard with my neighbor,
Sure.
and I get a concern about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really don't want to take those down, but,
Oh, okay.
and I take for safety for my daughter.
How long have you lived there?
Huh?
How long have you lived there?
12 years.
Okay. Yeah, pine trees do drop branches like that. I mean, my yard.
Until they start falling branches, I never want to cut those down because I like those.
Mhm. Okay, and so you came up with a plan after Hannah had seen that for some sort of remediation, since the trees are down and gone and brush issue, removal of the slash and so forth was taken care of. And what is that plan gonna entail? We have an idea? I know there was something in the portal, but,
I was just get the vegetation out of the.
well, there was a question about planting something.
Yeah, so I had recommended that they put in some plantings in accordance with our planting plan in our regulations. So for the width of those trees, they were pretty large pines right on the edge of the lawn. And the slope is, it is revegetated, but it's mostly just herbaceous, very low vegetation. That was kind of the concern, was potentially putting in a couple more woody vegetation species along that slope to
Right, anything
mitigate
erosion wise that
removal
keeps
of trees.
the soil more stable and where it might be flowing down towards, any runoff might be flowing down, erosion might be flowing down towards the resource area is a good idea, I think, so. And it's got a bit of a slope So, do we have numbers of trees and everything defined, or we need to leave that to you to work with the homeowner?
If that's something you'd like to see, that's something they would need to add. So
Right.
it's, I guess, you know. other
If we only had
than
somebody who
discretion.
knew about trees, it could advise us in this particular situation. One of our, and just for, one of our commissioners is an expert on trees and certified arborist. Nicole, so she can provide some input if you have some at this time or down the
Yeah,
road.
I'm just trying to figure out where exactly the trees are. There's only 2 pine trees at one of those.
Yeah.
Some pine trees, yeah.
Trees, and that's one of the stumps. And then
What is all that?
that's all the slash from those 2 trees.
Oh,
So they did take that out of there.
okay.
Yeah, so they cleaned up, on the other side of the fence.
Now, were those dead trees?
Not dead, but because they getting old and heavy, it's getting like start getting like little rods from the top down. And those branches inside from my yard is pretty heavy when the wind hits because it's pretty tall. And it's a lot of branches hit the ground and a lot of things go to the pool.
Yeah, I mean, that's the nature of pine trees anyways. They kind of like self prune. Because they love sun, and when they don't have full sun on them, they can they drop their bottom branches. Because they don't need them. So they're not like particularly dangerous, but if they weren't like dead, you should probably do a replacement value.
So what's the policy say for that approximate size?
Do we know the Simons?
I think they were, I put them somewhere, but, I mean, the trunks are still there, so they could measure that. I
Yeah,
think they are above so we kind of have a
Yeah, right, we hit a
scale,
max.
but yeah, so it's a max, so it's, kind of up to interpretation, but I would assume it would probably be like a 40 to
that
1.
one's pretty big.
If you go across on the end, probably like a 24-inch, maybe 25. Something like that. Which cross,
Across the diameter?
yeah. Something around that.
That sounds right to me. I was out there measuring it with my boot. I probably should have done it with a tape measure, but that was
Would've
my
loaned you
first
tape,
time out
we
there.
would've
So. Oh, I got one. Don't
We
worry.
give her a Sharpie and she remarks her boot with one of the markers and it shows it. Now, yeah, I think that what we would generally do is, request that the plan includes something like, we're not, so that you're not gonna put a 24-inch tree in,
No.
or even 12-inch or something really big.
Try to get
But
that
a number
try
of
to get that
smaller
total.
ones, 3 to 1 or something like that
Yeah.
ratio. So maybe half a dozen of
That one.
species. The question is whether you recommend pines in this location, Nicole, or something else.
Nicole, how come
There's 2 stumps. Are those slices of the tree? Yes, I went black.
That's just how pines are. Once you cut them, they start to rot from the inside out, where hardwoods rot from the outside in.
But that's pretty recent. Those pictures were in the fall of this year, right?
Well,
Cut
it's,
tree.
you can see it's all the
I think
pitch
she's got
coming
a
out
bunch
of
of-
it.
Oh, pitch.
You didn't know they looked like.
Yeah, it's the pitch.
Picture. So would you recommend pine? There's something else there? Just for soil stabilization is all we're looking for at this point in time, and obviously that the trees, we're gonna spend the money and
Is it a
time.
really shady area? Like, what's the orientation?
So, the north arrow is on that
I'm
plan.
just looking at
This
pictures.
is,
This is our
There you
replacement
go.
yeah, the
guidelines.
sun's coming up over here, so this is the afternoon sun here.
Okay, so it's like part shade.
Yeah, yep,
And on a slope.
yeah, it's just due south right here, so the trees are right here, right near the X.
I mean, you should probably just replace them with what was there.
So some white pines up
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, just on
Right,
the other
easy
side,
enough,
that's
cheap
like at the
enough.
top of the slope, you mean, or?
Well, yeah, I think that in the general area, if you don't want to put them too close to each other, number one, and number two, and code probably advising this. On top of the slope as opposed to partway down the slope, wherever they would best do and also help stabilize. They don't have to all be right in that spot.
Yeah.
You don't have to put them right in the spot. The idea is somewhere in the general area and on your property, obviously you're not gonna plant on someone else's. And not, you don't want to plant a new tree in the middle of the woods, it's not gonna grow. So somewhere along the edge there, they won't create a problem in the next 5 or 10 years. And we'll succeed, is what we're looking for. I'm perfectly willing to leave it up to the commission and the applicant's representative to come up with, the commission, Nicole from the commission and or Hannah, to pick the specific locations or just generally point to the area and saying, the person that you're having plant the trees for you, or if you're gonna do it yourself, getting somebody to advise you before you do that, so that you're spaced far enough apart for the type of trees. White pine is, I think, what we're looking to put into replace.
Do you guys have a suggest how far away from each other?
Like 10 feet?
10,
That's
10,
where I defer, I don't, have enough expertise to even begin to guess how far apart.
Yeah, I mean, usually like white pines, usually about 10 feet on center.
And I'm just looking at our replacement guidelines,
Yeah.
6 to 10 inch caliper is 3 of those 2 inch to 3.5 inch caliper trees, so, you know, these are definitely
Is that a
over
good size
10, so
for
maybe
the
that would
line
be-
to get? Or is this too big?
Yeah, so about 8 trees would be.
probably about 80.
Okay, so, is that diameter sound good for that type of tree? Cause I know,
2.5 to 3, yeah.
okay, so. We're looking for replacement of 8
White
white pine. That are 2 to 2.5 or better inch diameter, so.
2 to 3.5 inch to DBH.
Yeah, and spaced out. I don't know if you want to.
Just about the right amount of distance along the fence.
Yeah,
I
about,
think,
how about
right
10
out.
feet spacing?
In that general area, obviously. And whether you wanna zigzag them up a hill or just sort of.
Yeah, probably a zigzag pattern would be best instead of a straight line,
Okay.
just for a slope retention.
Okay,
Quick question.
Yes.
If I have to put some dirt in there because that last slope or zigzag on that, can I just put something on for plants, the trees?
I don't think you'll have to add much soil to it.
Is-
Should be fine.
is
The
the-
native soils are best. Like, once you start adding a bunch of organic matter, then the trees don't. They want to stay in that area that there's organic matter. They won't go into the native soil, so.
Meaning they won't grow well.
Hmm.
so is the soil stable enough, but
Yeah.
loose enough that you can, cause you don't have to bring a backhoe in to hopefully dig it?
Yep.
Okay, good. All right, yeah, so that's pretty much what we're looking for a scope,
Well, that's the springtime. That's-
Yeah, oh,
Yeah, not right now.
You can dig it in the snow if you want to, but I wouldn't
No,
advise it.
probably not.
Yeah, no, so, we have.
So I
to
can
bring
probably
the investment
email
in,
it.
so-
Email a sketch back over with some approximate locations, would that
I think
Yeah,
make the
that would
commission happy?
satisfy, agree, send it to Hannah, and sit down, if she has additional questions or follow-up is needed before. We have plenty of time between now and springtime planting, that you might wanna do it. I think we might wanna give to be planted by, we've done that in this situation. Midsummer, you wouldn't know it, or either spring or fall, you wouldn't want to plant in the middle of summer, correct? Nicole?
yeah, so probably by June.
June 1st or something, June
Yeah.
15th? June.
Yeah, the springtime, April planting's the best.
Okay.
And Hannah, as soon as I get those in, you want to come out and see or you want just pictures?
That would be something I'd probably want to come out and see. That would be detailed in the permit ordinance, but yeah, I think that would be something that would just be notified if that was done.
And do we want to specify anything else for conditions like hand planting as opposed to bringing a machine in, given it's on a slope and then. We want to minimize any negative impact we want to put up, because if you bring the machine in, we're going to want to see erosion control, so you don't inadvertently, accidentally, you start erosion issues and so forth.
Okay.
So, but that size tree, you should be able to do hand planting. As opposed to, you can wheel these wheelbarrows, don't get me wrong, you don't have to carry the whole thing, but no machinery.
But all this planning is going to happen between the 50 and the 100, correct?
No, between the 100. Yeah, correct, yes. 50, probably 70 feet off. So the toe is at the
And it's
closest
very
point.
low pitch.
We won't go beyond
Within
the,
the-
we won't go beyond the
I'm not
existing
saying
toe
there's
slope.
erosion problems, I'm just saying they bring machinery in that complicates it. And just, that's a condition we sometimes bring out, sometimes don't. Any other conditions that, Don, you or Pam, feel free to chime in, do you have any other conditions or any other observations about this that you'd like to make for the record?
I had go ahead, Pam. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say, I think the replacement plan is a good idea.
Can we approve this without that, or do we have to wait for that?
That's up to the
Probably
commission.
best for
I
it.
was gonna say, we had plenty of time.
Yeah, I'd like to see the plan and be like, oh, okay.
That's fine, somebody can make a motion to do that, that's fine. Don, did you have something to say? You started to say something before Pam spoke and I want.
Yeah, the only question I had, not because I support where we are right now, but was that if there was interest in putting in some smaller vegetation, there's that's a lot of white pine trees to put up over that area. So I didn't know the type of soil that's there. Would it support something like native blueberry or anything else? I assume that it's well drained, sandy type soil there if the pines are successful. So I was just kind of throw that out there as an option.
I believe the applicant or their representative stated that the hillside is right now covered pretty much with just herbaceous. Maybe Hannah, you said that?
Something that I said.
Hannah said that, so it's got some good ground cover existing. I would be hesitant to disturb more than they have to, and I don't know, blueberries on the hillside and how far away it is and how much.
I think it might be too shady.
Too shady.
It might be too shady. Okay. No,
Yeah.
that was
Pretty proper. It's good,
Yeah,
good point though.
hard shade, I don't.
If there's not much on the slope, we might want to consider more expansive planting, but I think that it's started to regrow pretty well. Or it's, since it's been grown in or whatever. All right, anybody else? Steve, Ariane, James, anything else? Okay, somebody wants to make a motion, I'll be glad to hear it.
I'll entertain a motion to continue this meeting to the evening of February 25th.
All right,
Second.
okay, and just for the record, so we're continuing the meeting for the applicant's information to the next meeting we have scheduled, which is the 25th of February. And
Does that work
between,
for you guys?
what's that?
Does that work for you guys? February 25th?
Well, California in March, so that's perfect.
So in between now and then, what we're looking to get is the stuff.
just waiting for
the
DEP.
plan that your rep's gonna do with located on the plan, so we have something on record on paper. To add to the file, and then at the next meeting, when you come back, we would probably vote to, if everything looks good. And the commission wishes to do so, not speaking for them, we would then vote to approve and issue a.
Order of conditions.
Order of conditions for the abbreviated notice.
File number yet, the DEP,
We need the.
so they can't really vote.
Right, and we, without a DEP file number, we can't.
So that, we should have that within a week or two.
We have plenty of time between now and meetings, and you aren't gonna do anything till springtime, so just so you know what to anticipate and why we're continuing it, and not just saying, yeah, go ahead tonight.
Okay.
Okay,
So can you submit the drawings to Hannah the week before?
Yeah, I could probably do it
And
next
not-
week. I don't think there's a
Not
lot
bring
of
them
work
in
to-
during the meeting.
I'm gonna be drawing some symbols for the proposed planting areas and then a note for the size.
okay.
So yeah, I can do that next week.
That'd be great.
You'll have plenty of time.
Thank you.
So we had a motion, second discussion, any other discussion? Okay, we'll call for a vote. James?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Ariane?
Aye.
Well,
Aye.
Pam?
Aye.
Don?
aye.
And Mike, aye. Okay, so unanimous vote. Continue to the evening of February 25th. Meantime, stay dry, don't have to get back shoveling snow.
Have you moved back in yet?
Thank you.
Thanks, bud.
Thanks, everyone.
Happy Saturday.
Thank you all.
Yeah, I get it. Okay. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Good night. That's it. Next item on the agenda is the continued hearing for notice of intent for Blackstone Street, alteration of bordering vegetated wetland BVW and its associated 100-foot buffer zone for the improvements to the undeveloped section of Blackstone Street, including infrastructure, utilities, and site grading. Luke Josie is the applicant. Hello, come on up. Hello, good evening. Welcome to the meeting. So, just for the commission's reminder review that we had, been discussing this, continue discussing whatever, so it's sort of alternating pattern lately, but anyway, so at the last meeting on the 14th, we had some reps in engineering and, wetland science reps in, for the applicant, and I figured we spent about a half an hour now just seeing where we're at, and we have received some very, very current information as of even today and over the past weekend, from either the applicant or the peer consultants, peer review company, Fields and Thomas. And so I thought stating what it is that is in the peer review proposal, which has been revised to include as much of the information that we have all just received, to make sure everybody's clear on what's being proposed for the scope of the peer review, and then seeing what the commission's pleasure is as far as, do you want to continue with another peer review, modified peer review, which would include XYZ, or are there other concerns or considerations? But before I do that, let me just ask if, as at the end of the last hearing on this, the last meeting with this hearing, agenda item, I had asked the commission to, if they had a chance over the time lot between meetings, if they had any other questions about anything that was in the information that had been supplied up to that point in time, not the stuff that came up this past weekend, because that's too current to discuss, is that, if they had anything, they just make a note of that and we can bring it up as the first thing on this new hearing tonight. So I'll ask the commission members if anybody has anything they'd like to put on the table as a question, an issue that they saw, something needs clarification. Before we jump into looking at the peer review proposal information.
No questions.
Steve,
None.
Marianne, Pam or Don online, anything you have that you just want to make sure doesn't get lost in the shuffle conversation?
Yep, nope, no additional.
Pam, you good?
Yep.
Okay, Nicole? Okay, all right, thanks. So Lou, does that seem a reasonable thing to do? Is just make sure that the peer review, which did, we've got a copy? Gil?
No, that just came in today.
Yeah, we just received today a modified version where, I don't know, over the last couple of days that Peel and Thomas gathered the information that you had forwarded along over the weekend to try to incorporate as much as possible, so the scope of this revised peer review is as comprehensive as possible. However, there are a number of items that I just want to make sure the commission, at least, and you as the applicant are clear would be either still needed or potentially have been included in one or the other. And I'm going to ask Ken to help me identify those different categories, either stuff that's still needed or has been requested, or we anticipate, or whatever, and then give you a chance to say, yeah, that'll be included in there, or no, it isn't, or whatever. Those items, so we're all on the same page before we decide whether we want to go ahead with the revised peer review or do something different. That makes sense? Okay. Was there anything else right off the bat that you as an applicant needed to, or was hoping to be able to say?
Well, no, I'm here tonight because Hannah and I had discussed the fact that the information just recently got submitted.
Right,
And that I wanted to ensure that the board, the commission did not want to like consider another peer review proposal, wait another meeting before the review started. So I'm here to really kind of expedite the process.
okay,
If the board, if the commission wants to continue peer review and there's an additional funds required, then we want to make sure that that is firmly established tonight so that we can have Beals and Thomas continue with the review.
and also that I think it's equally important to you as the applicant that you, and especially the commission, understand clearly what information is going to be reviewed, and if we or the peer reviewer or you, if there's something that's missing and isn't provided, that everybody's clear that the peer review will be done based on this information, this is all we're going to be getting, or this plus what other stuff will come in, because the peer review, you want to start and move forward, and we understand that, and we certainly don't want to drag the process out, but.
To my knowledge, and we had this discussion today, there's two pieces of information that I think the commission requested at the last meeting. One is some form of an alternatives analysis, even though we did describe in our waiver request the alternatives that we've considered. I guess the commission wants to see something visual or quantitative.
I think better clarified.
That clarifies that.
There was a response to that, I think.
Yeah. And then the second thing was some form of evaluation of the habitat that's within the parameters of the existing right of way that's there.
Habitat, and that was Goddard was going to be providing that, correct?
So unfortunately, I haven't received that. I anticipated it, but we didn't get it. And so those two items are the things that I anticipate having. And we will present something between now and the next meeting.
Right.
Which could conceivably go to Beals and Thomas for its review too, but it's up to the, I mean, these are visual.
I'm not sure.
Alternatives analysis, a visual demonstration of.
When you say visual, I don't know what you mean. That could be a video or a map.
No, it's gonna be some sort of a plan that's gonna demonstrate quantities, BDW impacts, other impacts, buffer zone impacts. And really kind of, it's really visual in terms of determining what is the economic equivalent of what we are able to do within the right of ways. It's a kind of, I don't necessarily know that it needs to be reviewed, but that's going to be the commission's decision if it decides to have them review it to verify what we've quantified on a handout or a plan.
Okay.
So do you want me to just kind of?
Yeah, why don't you go, that's what we talked about.
Yeah, just because I made a couple notes with
What
the
notes?
information we
What
had
notes?
coming in and.
It's a way to keep track of things. This is a very
So-
complicated project.
Just kind of to go over the new materials that we received over the weekend and then, got into your hands on Tuesday. we received the Allen Engineering response to the Beals and Thomas comments. A new set of plans that, was quickly presented in draft form at the last meeting. So we got the electronic copies and the official plan set for that. And a bunch of other new stormwater materials. So, and those have also been sent to the planning board, so they're gonna continue to review that under their peer review scope. So in terms of the peer review, the items that they listed that, I've forwarded to them as they've been sent in, so in between their last peer review and this peer review. Were the request for waiver prepared by Wall Street Development, the conservation agent memorandum from December, the comment responses from Allen Engineering to DEP, the new set of plans, the response to Beals and Thomas peer review letter from Goddard, the long-term operation and maintenance plan, the evaluation of vernal pool buffer zones that was presented by Goddard, the wetland replication planting plan, also by Goddard, and the habitat assessment forthcoming. So is the habitat assessment coming in shortly so that they can review that in
I
minutes?
was told yesterday that we'd have it today, but it didn't come in, so they didn't answer calls today from.
So between now and the 25th, certainly in the next
I
week
would
or so.
expect, I would expect it now and Friday, I would say.
Okay, so
That's
that can
my
be-
expectation.
So that can stay in
Right,
there,
right.
okay.
And just to go, I mean, most of the things that you read off are revised documents, so that
Yeah,
they're up to
Yeah,
date.
yeah,
kind of
exactly.
thing.
They're the most recent documents, yeah. And their actual proposal does have the dates and everything. So when I send that to you, that has everything.
So that covers what, just for the commission's reference, that
For
should.
this week.
The last.
Just so you guys are on the same page, so this is the stuff that they are currently having their revised proposal.
Yes.
Gil Thomas. So now I think we want to discuss, or not discover, but discuss, but cover things that may still be outstanding in our view / Gil Thomas's view rather, for things that they would like or need to see to make the most comprehensive evaluation or peer review possible, and whether the applicant has them in hand, knows about the status of them or not. At least they're on the record for this is what we would like to see, whether they can be provided in a timely enough manner to make sense.
So that was, I just put a couple notes down from last meeting for stuff we were looking to see for this meeting or stuff we had talked about last meeting. So one of the things that the commission had asked for was the missing responses from Allen Engineering, which those were provided. Additional information to support the waiver request and the vernal pool waiver, about, the statement saying that the work is not expected to have adverse effect on wildlife. So that's where the habitat evaluation is going to be coming soon. We had asked for some clarification, like I think Pam had mentioned it, for input from town council on some of the legal language used in the memo. So
Meaning the
just
waiver
to,
request.
yes, in the waiver request memorandum, yes. So I think one of the questions was about the, with not owning the property, does that have any impact on the waiver request? And town council wanted to clarify if there's a purchase and sales agreement in place. So if so, that does qualify as financial stake. So and I know you submitted in the original document that you had, the signing rights for that.
Yeah, we submitted letters of authorization. and stuff
Yes,
like that.
okay.
So
Okay,
That's still in effect, and so.
okay.
I don't see
So I
an
think
issue
that
with
kind
that.
of answers that part of it. There were a number of legal cases that were cited. A couple of them, they noted that they didn't seem properly cited, some of the mass general law stuff. Or a lot of like zoning related bylaw.
So, again, it's your regulations have categories of hardship, various thresholds, let's say, to demonstrate that that we would be entitled to this waiver. Most of the requirements were copied out of the zoning for variances. Which, this is not a zoning issue, but most of the language is essentially identical to what's in the zoning requirements for a variance. So you folks, I guess, should read that regulation that you have in the wording and compare it to what the zoning is. And so when you get into the legal aspects of I don't really want to get into it
Yeah, I'm
today,
just
but
letting you know, like.
if town council wants to input, I welcome their input because it would help the board
Right.
perhaps understand what the rights are and what.
If they have not already said that
that's
they
what-
would do so to
that's-
Hannah, I think that we are going to want to have them actually, she's having verbal conversations with
Yep.
our town council at our request, but get something in writing, so that we as the commission members can look this stuff over too and say, oh, that's what our council is saying, this zoning regulation, if that's, it's all right. Some council, commission members like myself might say, what the heck do we care, not care? What the heck is zoning regulations have to do with conservation regulations? And that's where our council can advise us on that and say, yes, it is, or it isn't.
It's not in the Wetlands Protection Act, it's under your regulations,
Right.
and your bylaw, so.
If if our bylaws related to the Conservation Commission are pertinent to examples that are legally being cited or referenced, which are zoning related, then fine. If they're tied in some way legally, and that's something our council can say, yep, they make sense, they are tied. That's what we'll see. So I'm just saying in writing, we're gonna need to get
Yeah,
something.
no, I encourage you to do
Yeah,
that,
right.
because
So we will be.
I think that's important for you to understand what our rights are as the owner applicants and what the discretion to be exercised by the commission under your regulations. So
Yeah, okay, continue, sorry, Hannah.
Yeah, no, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, and to that point, that was something we also discussed was the legal rights of land ownership. And while he does have rights to use, there's, the proposed use that you've proposed does require significant roadway expansion and stormwater structures that are an intensification of use. These activities are regulated by the Conservation Commission when it's in its jurisdiction and requires an alternatives analysis. So that's what was communicated to us. When I talked to
what's that, Amy?
yes. And then in terms of alternatives analysis and the waiver request, the other stuff we kind of talked about was mostly just in the waiver memo that I wrote, which included, like you had mentioned, those two
Yep.
alternatives with the potential access through Blackstone, which wouldn't require wetland alteration or use of further southern A&R lots that are 90 to 100 feet from the vernal pool. And then also more information on how that alternative 3, which is the alternative outside the 50-foot no disturb zone, requested some information on how those numbers were calculated, which we already kind of went over that. And then some more information was requested about the proposed mitigation for the preferred alternatives. So like snow removal, snow storage, tree saving, wildlife crossing, wildlife mitigation, all that type of stuff. So in terms of the habitat assessment that they're proposing, is it just the habitat assessment?
I have no idea. He was at the meeting, he heard your conversation, you discussed it with him. I have to review what he's done and make sure that it's appropriate for what we are what we're asking the commission to grant us the waiver. So when I look at that and I think it needs to be, information added to, then we'll revise it, but I'm not gonna submit it until it meets what the commission is looking for in that respect.
So there's sort of a trade-off in that everybody wants things to proceed moving forward, but we also, so we want to give if that's the commission's decision to do so, the peer reviewers to go ahead with either the
Whatever they have.
proposed revised version that they have right now, or something addition, but if they need substantial additional information, just so everybody's on board, and we're not able to get it, and because you're doing your due diligence and reviewing the information your consultants are providing for you before passing it along, that's your priority. It's just that we on the commission need to be clear whether we're saying yes now, and if so, to what for the peer review.
Right.
And you as the applicant paying for that, understand the scope of what you're getting for that money that is, what we are all getting, not just you, for that.
Let me make just a suggestion, because we all know that we pay a certain amount of money that's in the proposal. Attached to every peer review proposal, if the services exceed the value of the proposal, they always have a chart.
Yep.
For scale, for additional fees.
Correct.
So quite frankly, they should be able to continue, if something isn't in the proposal and they have exhausted their services, they should be able to proceed on a fee, time and materials basis for whoever's gonna review the additional information. Not that I want to discount the fact that, they should submit a complete
Well, I
proposal.
believe actually in the proposal, it states, previous ones have, I'll have to look at this revised one we just got today, but usually for any of the peer reviewers, previous ones or this one, they'll tell us that near the end, they state in that exact case, if our services fees that we've been approved to work up to is reached, we will not proceed with any additional work, review process, whatever, until we receive approval from, in this case, the Conservation Commission, which would require them to say, hey, we're at the max now. It's gonna cost X amount more approximately to do more. Do you want us to go ahead? We would then come back to the applicant and so forth. Are you suggesting that we not do that?
No, I'm saying that it doesn't necessarily have to come back to the commission to do that. In other words, we know they could come back and say, hey, this is gonna take us another 5 hours.
Who would they come back to? You're saying,
Hannah.
well, okay.
And then she could communicate to me and say, Lou, funds are gone. Beals and Thomas has said, we need another $2,000 to do this thing, and then we could bring in a check and then they could proceed without having to.
Is that kind of just outside of, like, if there's anything in addition to what's in this
Yeah,
scope?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I'm just saying that we don't have to come back for every meeting to have this.
I just want to ask the commission, since I understand what you're saying now that you clarify that, that's helpful, thanks. But I want to see what the commission thinks. First off, does everybody on the commission's, Pam, you and Don too, did you hear everything okay so far? Because I'm not sure how you.
I did hear everything, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So what's being suggested by Lou is that instead of going back to another meeting to get approval from us for additional funding to provide additional services that the peer reviewers need to get an authorization, that we just basically delegate that to Hannah unless it seems to be an issue or if she doesn't agree with it, or there's some other issue, in which case it would come back to us. And just to give her the authority to approve additional expenses that are stated, estimated, whatever, an hourly basis for X many hours, for example, or a dollar amount, that would cover additional services that are still needed for peer review, could be done administratively, and that is agreeable to the commission. We should just be on board with that. If not, if somebody else.
Yeah.
Let me know.
I don't have a problem as long as we get a write-up of that all at the next hearing, like what was performed.
You get an email, this has come up while you guys were in between meeting here, and this is the amount that we.
Yeah.
That approved, and so.
Not that we have to actually meet and vote. I fully agree and understand that.
It's just that
I
policy, Pam?
I would disagree. I think that given the public interest in this specific project, we would be smart to be discussing these things at open meeting.
Okay, so just so we're clear, no decisions will be made by anything, Pam. This is just to approve peer review to continue to look at things and take in additional information. If additional information, for example, provided by Lou or their representatives or consultants, between now and the next meeting, for example, and that now has expanded the scope, it's just padding the amount of work that needs to be done by, or not padding, but adding to the amount of work that needs to be done. No decisions would be made, no votes would be needed. It's just to keep the consultant not having to wait to come back to another meeting to get approval for what basically is just reviewing information.
I thought the example given outlined like if the money was all used up and additional hours needed to be used, that another check could be cut. I think it would be a good idea to bring that to open meeting,
Okay,
even if we don't need to vote on it.
you're good. Ariane?
Okay. After the applicant has presented his or her project to the commission at a hearing, the members shall determine whether an outside consultant will be necessary in order for the commission to make fully informed decision on the application. The commission shall give written notice to the applicant of the selection of an outside consultant The notice shall state the identity of the consultant, the amount of the fee to be charged to the applicant, and a request for payment of said fee in its entirety. Such notice shall be deemed to have been given on the date it is mailed or delivered. No such costs or expenses shall be incurred by the applicant if the application or request is withdrawn within 5 days of the required fee must be received prior to the initiation of consulting services.
That's when the application is first filed.
Right.
So this is for peer.
Yeah, so this would kind of just be, I think he's just saying like if he has one other little supplemental piece that, you know, it didn't get thrown in this month period, if they would like to add that to their review and it takes
I think
another
the
3
application
hours
should
to
just be
review that.
complete before they even review it.
Well, the application has been modified based off
Right.
prior hearings.
Or
And
if we know stuff is outstanding, then we should just know.
well, the commission is also, for the record, the commission has also asked for more information than was initially when, which is the nature of the process. I mean, the applicant makes the initial request and this is the scope and we want peer review and it's gonna be X amount. Then we look at that first scope and say, oh, wait, but what about this, this, and this? And we need more information about that. And now the scope has changed. And now we want that review too, when the applicant responds with this extra information. So we are in fact, impartially at least, if not completely, making these changes happen where additional funding, which doesn't seem to be referred to for what happens if there's additional info. It talks about the first process. You're right. Should have complete
It's
application.
different from the first process.
This is, it
This is
doesn't.
peer review.
Right, no, that's what I mean, as part of the peer review process, it doesn't sound like what you just quoted there as
It just
anything.
says we have to issue a written thing, so when we get a new proposal, that's the written notice, and we have to get paid before it.
But I think the conversation is we're delegating that authority to Hannah. And then instead of having to come back to a public hearing to then issue that written notice, which may have been done 2 weeks prior. Instead of waiting those 2 weeks to let Beals and Thomas do their additional review, we give her the authority to do that day of.
But we're talking about time and expense, which I don't.
Yeah,
think
so they would
But it's scheduled here.
say time and expense, bill us, say it's gonna take us an additional 2 hours to review this that we weren't expecting. Here's time and services, we're not gonna finish it until we get that. They would have that to us in the form of, you know, an additional fee, and then we'd bring that to Lou. He would fund that, and then it would be able to be finished.
So we would get the money for the additional work that's being suggested to be compensated by the consultant before they would continue with that additional work. The question is, do we want to, which is a change, delegate that administrative approval to Hannah to keep things moving along?
I think that's slightly different than what Lou was presenting. He was presenting the idea of them proceeding with the work on a TNN basis
No.
with the schedule.
Yeah, no, well, also, what I'm suggesting is that let's say they finish their review on Tuesday of next week. We're not meeting again for 2 more weeks, but they need, as Hannah would say, they need another 3 or 4 hours funded. She would get a quote from the,
Okay, so you.
and I would come in and we wouldn't have to wait till the next meeting to
Understand.
finish the review.
But you use the phrase time and material.
Yeah, well,
basis. That's
usually that's,
usually-
yeah, well, if it's just 3 hours, they would just say, we need our wetland scientists to spend another 3 hours, and that would be the amount that we would come in, or they would say would be,
No, I
would be
understand.
available.
I had a different understanding of what you presented.
Yeah, no problem.
So Pam, let me go back to you and then I'll ask Ariana if she's seeing it differently from just having heard this round. Does that change? I understand you want to have open meeting process and make sure everything is being presented in an area that the public can hear as opposed to not saying behind closed doors, but outside of an open meeting. But for administrative, just my recollections, and Hannah will be the expert on this, since she can chime right in. We have approved administrative approval for Hannah for other things, not necessarily something like this peer review scope, additional scope work approvals, but things like, for example, if she sees something on a site walk where they need to modify wetlands flags, she is authorized by us to do that and empowered to do so. So she can, on her basis of being a site visit with the actual applicants or their reps and so forth, say, yeah, let's move these flags over. So then to come back in the next meeting and inform us, it'll be done in public forum, but it happened off-site, out of house, because we've given her something that is a ongoing permission to do administrative approval for that particular thing. And that's not money versus plot plans or flags is not the same thing, but.
Yeah, any new materials would get presented at the next meeting.
Right,
It's
I'm
just-
fine with Hannah administering just the fee structure and collecting the monies. To satisfy Pam's comment, it's the review of the results of that work that need to be public.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah, no, absolutely. There'll be a comment report.
In fact,
We would be,
the sooner we get that information to us to review,
Better equipped we.
exactly.
I'm fine with.
Well,
And I would say we should have
go ahead.
a caveat that, I mean, if you, for whatever reason, don't agree with the additional time that they need, then it will just be discussed at the next meeting.
Yeah, well, then it doesn't, if I don't pay, you don't do the work.
Or let's hypothetically say that it doesn't seem to make sense to Hannah after she hears from Deal and Thomas that these additional 6 hours that they want for a wetland scientist or somebody else to review things on their team. Makes sense to her. She doesn't think that we're looking at this a side, it's a tangent we don't need to be involved with, or they're looking at something the wrong way or whatever. And it starts to get involved. She doesn't even have to like debate this with the consultant. She's empowered to say, nope, we're gonna bring this back to the commission, let them, you guys can come in and talk about why you want the extra 6 hours and what it's for, let the commission do it. It doesn't seem to make sense to me, but I don't want to just approve it.
Do we need a motion for Anna to do this?
Well, I'm not sure. Let me go back. I want to make sure Pam, who has not responded, I'm not sure if she didn't hear. Pam, how are you feeling about what you're hearing there? I don't want to step on what you had said. I want to make sure.
Yeah, I still feel the same way. It's not that I don't trust Hannah 100% to be delegated to or do these administrative tasks. I still think in this case, keeping as much as we can in the open public hearings is in the best interest of everyone. But that's just my opinion.
Okay.
We're just talking about money, we're not talking about.
I think it is pretty important to keep talking about money in the public forum, given the nature of this specific project and how much community interest and issues there seem to be.
I don't see anybody here tonight.
We should formalize just a vote.
Oh, yeah,
We're
I think.
authorizing her to do something.
I think we'll make sure the commission members are all have a chance to hear what's being suggested by the applicant, decide for themselves whether they want to do it, speak out so that other commission members can hear what they do that. And then I think we do need to have, even though it's not a formal.
It's gonna sound like, definitely you can vote on it if you would like to. I have done that in the past. This has been something that. has
For
been-
peer review?
Yeah, for
Here?
some earlier, yeah.
Okay.
Because they don't make decisions.
And that's something that Hannah Crawford had done as well. So that's
I'm
on,
sure
they're on a
Hannah-
couple projects. That was definitely something that
Ended it.
we've done. So I just wanted to, like, it's definitely not something out of the.
That's why I said-
They have that.
That's why I said you'd be the expert. If this has been happening or it has happened in the past, I just don't remember it. I'm not saying that it was like not been approved. Okay, yeah, and I'm not sure that I would know how to phrase a vote per se, but at the very least, a straw poll.
Yeah, informal, like.
Informal,
the
you know,
commission-
I want to make sure the commission members are found out, they have a chance to state how they feel about it, and if it seems that it's a split thing, then we'll put it off, and if it's not a split thing, it seems to be clearly indicated one way or the other, how they'd like to proceed, then Hannah will have her, I'll say marching orders, but have a clear direction or focus. Okay, Don, I haven't heard much from you. Marcia, did you get a chance to speak up offline there?
Sure. So I understand and respect what Pam's concerns were, but I think that this is something that Hannah has done in the past and can continue to do it in this particular situation. I think it adds some expediency to the process. Would hate to see something wait 2 or 3 weeks just to get the okay to go ahead to spend an additional $400 because something popped up. So that's my
Every
perspective.
review shakes out more stuff to be reviewed. That's-
Right.
These are complicated projects. Okay. Nicole, anything?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Dawn that it would just expedite the process and that since there's no voting happening. I don't see an issue with it. I do respect what Pam is saying, but personally, I don't see an issue with it.
Okay.
Well, ultimately, the proposal itself will be public, and it's gonna end up in the record anyway.
And frankly, any decisions about additional money, as we said, being approved or additional work being approved / money being paid by to the consultant, our peer review consultants, by the applicant is going to be public record as soon as the next meeting, because it's gonna, we've either A, gotten a memo, or will be stated as part of Hannah's update on what the status is of the project.
I think if we make it a practice to, maybe announce it more, like if it's not something that where we come back to a hearing and vote, like formally vote and say, yes, like we want this review. If we do it like offline, maybe to start the hearing with, or somehow working the hearing that there was additional scope that was funded and whatever, and that proposal's in the portal.
You could just list off like the documents we've received.
Yeah.
There's
So it's like in
And I
the
keep
record.
that public folder, like any documents I get them to you guys, and then I try to get them on
Okay.
the public facing portal too, so.
Yeah, and as part of an ongoing, just, I would say, policy procedure, whether I do it or the commission members help remember it, or Hannah helps remember, anytime a project that's been ongoing for months and months like this going on, it's helpful at some point in time just to pause for a second and say, this is what's happened. But certainly anything related to approvals that have been happening outside of the meeting. If I don't have to say what happened at the last meeting and the meeting before that, that's on the record. People have watched the meeting and care enough to either come here or watch it online or whatever.
Outside the meeting.
Right, I'm saying they won't have missed anything because that's what happened in the meeting. But any administrative, like, for example, what we're discussing right now, authorizations to proceed with expenses for a limited basis for a proposal can be,
Continuation of peer review.
right, continuation period can be brought out as a point of information in the public hearing next time the meeting comes out, that particular project comes up. Just as an ongoing practice that, so that nobody's surprised by the fact, what, you approved some more money for the scope to be more. Yeah, we stated at the beginning of this meeting that that's happened since the last meeting. This is the amount, this is the dollar. Okay, now it's moving to what's being done.
I think as long as we make sure that that is what we were doing regularly, then my concerns are satisfied.
Okay, good, thank you. I think, does that make sense to the commission?
No, Pam's entitled to vote nay anyway.
Was that?
She's entitled to vote against it.
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
of course.
I'm just trying to find ways to like,
Well, I think the more clarity.
even if she principally disagrees, just to make it.
Well, I think it's an excellent point. The more public and transparent we are, the less issues anybody has, the applicant, their representatives, the public, abutters, to, hey, what happened? How did this happen? Well, I didn't hear about that. Well,
Yeah.
if it's on the record and they didn't read it, that's on them.
This is just a balancing, because I think the public would appreciate the expediency.
Sure.
The more efficiently we can process the reviews for further peer review, it increases the pace of continuity on the project itself, which is already suffering.
Right.
And I think that's more important to the public.
Yeah.
So are we going to go to a vote?
No, I
here
think
or
we're,
do
I
process?
don't really think we have something that we can make a motion. I think if the group
It's
and
like that majority.
it sounds like the majority / almost everyone is now on board with making this a practice for not just this project, but future projects as well. That if there's things that happen for administrative approvals, for example, for review or something else, non-decisions, no votes are being taken, no decisions are being made outside of the open meeting. But that any information about what might have happened can be updated during the next hearing for that particular project. And that if we get a habit of doing that, that's good for the public and good for us, and that we want to say, what, you've been doing this for a while. And other administrators have too, okay. All right, so we're on board with that, I think. I don't think anything else. Hannah, did we stop you before you got to the end of your list of things?
That
Okay.
was
All right,
it.
so we're the commission,
We're good on the
what?
there's the scope 3 that is what we have yet to officially approve yet.
Right,
Good on that? Did we?
well,
I
that's,
feel like we went on a tangent.
well, no, what we did was we cover everything that at the beginning right on track, but then there was additional stuff which I wanted to make sure for the record was,
So it just sounded like we're just waiting until that extra information from Goddard comes, whatever information we get from them, we'll move forward with that, and then
There's
you'll.
nothing else that's not listed on this scope that we're expecting Bills and Thomas to review at the moment.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yes.
I thought there were a couple of things that you said.
Well, so it was just stuff that we weren't sure if that was gonna be included in the Goddard memo.
Right,
So, but they can Beals and Thomas can evaluate that, and you can evaluate.
And then they'll have a comment. So-
Right. But what I was hearing from you, Lou, when Hannah just asked that, is this additional stuff going to be in Goddard's proposal? Your comment was, I don't know, I haven't seen it yet, which makes sense because you haven't. So when you see that, you said you would then decide if it was full. I want to make sure if you were clear on what we were looking for, that may or may not be in that Goddard
Right,
report.
then there'll be extra money and then she'll ask me
Right.
for extra money.
Then you're clear on that. So if we don't, in the meantime, it sounds like what we're getting is go ahead with what we have for information. And then we'll see about additional stuff that might need to be coming in.
Right.
If it's not in Goddard's report and it's still things like snow storage or something like that is not been evaluated, or an update on the mitigation stuff, alternatives, it doesn't seem to be been provided in Goddard's. Are we gonna get it? If we get a, no, we're not gonna get it, fine. If we don't get a go, if we are gonna get it and it comes in a week later, then that's where the administrative approval we.
I have a separate question,
Yes,
Mr.
go ahead.
Chair. The plan set that is in the portal as for this meeting, is that the latest? And I assume it's the latest and
Very
greatest.
latest, yes.
Are you anticipating any more changed drawing sets?
No,
Unless it's
Unless there's a
something comes
comment.
out of peer review.
yeah, unless there's a comment from peer review
Okay.
or a request from the commission.
Or planning board changes,
Yeah.
something
And
maybe.
in
I
my
understand.
estimation, everything that has been commented on to date by Beals and Thomas and the commission outside of the alternative has been
Incorporated into
incorporated
this
into
drawing
the
set.
plan. Right.
Okay.
All right,
So now we have the peer review proposal, whatever the extra.
right, the
deal is.
revised peer review proposal, which we just received today. And Gills and Thomas says, anyone looked at it?
I haven't seen it. Sure.
Right.
Yeah, your last revision date
Yeah, we got
is
it.
January 22nd.
She read the list that she read off earlier.
I know, no money.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, so.
6,500.
okay, let's do it. I gotta get it. Let's just give me the number. Let's go.
It's like it's 8 o'clock. I'm ready to get out of here.
Nothing, that's in fact, and Hannah and I spent 2 hours on the phone today debating everything else.
Right, so the Beals and Thomas in the portal document that you all are now deciding whether you want to give the okay to a formally, because that's what we usually do at the point in time for peer review proposals, is dated, initial date was January 7th, but revised date is today, 28th, and to the town.
I think there's still money in there, right?
No.
No money?
There's a little bit left, and then
Then what they.
during the, when they finally.
Holidays?
No, they went for the last hearing. They had a little bit left, put aside for the hearing, and then they came for the hearing.
That's what I meant.
But you missed
Just-
them,
just
because
so
you
you know.
weren't here
I
last
mean,
time.
there seems to be,
Had
I
yours.
seem to be having their whole staff working on all my projects lately, so I don't know, doesn't matter.
Okay, so if someone's going to make a motion to do this, we have the following estimated labor and expenses, item 4.0 fee for services on the revised proposal, just for the record. The following is the estimated labor and expense budget for the services outlined in the section 1.0. Scope of services $6,500. Excluded services can be provided for additional income. Mutual satisfaction. So $6,500 for this revised proposal, which includes everything up through, that's on page 1 and start of page 2, up to habitat assessment forthcoming, which is the Goddard report that we just referred to. So anybody have any questions or issues about that $6,500 proposal that has been provided by Beals and Thomas, the revised proposal?
No.
No.
I thought it looked fine.
Okay. I'll take a motion from someone to accept and authorize for payment.
We just went through like a 20-minute conversation about
About,
authorization for.
well,
Do that.
since we're in the meeting, let's,
Yeah, all right,
you know,
fair enough.
fair enough. I mean, if she'll the meeting, then she gets a chance to accept that. But I think that haven't,
Might as well,
Yeah,
just,
yeah,
you know,
I
we're
never heard
here,
anyone say it should be less.
yeah,
might as well, just
they can say that if they want to.
do a.
Or more.
And then we can do what?
I'll move
Am I
to
the last one?
approve the
For
peer review
hearings,
scope.
yeah.
Revised peer review scope
Other
dated today. Okay, second by Nicole. Any other discussion? We have a motion and a second to accept the January 28th revised Beals and Thomas peer review scope for Blackstone Street as written and provided to us. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. James, Steve, Ariane,
Aye.
Nicole,
Hi.
Pam,
Aye.
Don.
Aye.
Mike, aye. Okay, so yes. Okay, so Hannah will inform Beals and Thomas to go. We'll keep posted on what happens with the Goddard information that comes in. And see where we go from there. And the next scheduled meeting is the 25th. So the next item.
25th of February.
February.
So that was the reason why I wanted.
The February, yeah, right, we all
Okay, we
realized
got a
that
whole
with that 11th meeting canceled. So I'll accept a motion to continue this hearing if someone wants to make it to the February 25th. Why?
Seconded.
You said it.
I know, that's why you, that's fine.
Excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt, but let's say, since the meeting is not until February 25th, let's suppose Beals and Thomas provides their comment report sometime like February 15th. Is Hannah gonna keep that in the file until the 25th, or are we able to get that and address those comments so that when we meet on the 25th, there's more?
Usually,
Send stuff out to you when I get.
yeah, I think as soon as,
I'm just asking the question, because usually it's 2 weeks, but now we're going like a whole month.
if the information, as soon as the information comes in, I think there's no reason not
Yeah,
to share it.
throws it in the portal.
The fact that we're canceling a meeting that would have been a 2-week gap in between, it's just time coincidence, I think, but yeah.
I don't think we'd have a review by 2 weeks because they take their time. But it could be like sometime between now and the third week that we may have something that we may be able to come to a meeting and address it prior to then waiting. It's just trying to take advantage of the time, that's all.
Right, we're not gonna have another meeting between now and the 25th. However, if the information that we get from them isn't passed along, sorry, if it is, it will be passed along to you as quickly as we get it.
Fabulous, thank you.
Okay. So I had a motion second. We were about to vote. No other discussion needed. James,
Aye.
Steve,
All right,
this is to continue the meeting to the 25th. Ariane,
Aye.
Nicole,
Aye.
Pam,
I
Don,
Aye.
and Mike. Aye. Okay, so
Great, thanks a lot.
thank you.
Thank you.
On the weekend,
Oh, yeah, we'll see what happens with this one.
you never know. You never know. It's February and it will be February and.
All right, thanks a lot. Hannah, we'll see you.
Thank you. Okay, we have some other administrative business.
I need to step away from my computer for a minute, let the dog out. I will be back.
Sure, okay, we'll talk slow.
or the dog's taking Pam
I
off.
won't let Donna.
No, wow.
Okay, so let's start with the easy one. We'll jump to the minutes. Does anybody have anything about I looked them over and looked, they're good.
I read them and had no comments.
About previous minutes, which
You've
you've already.
Not those two, okay, so false.
I noticed that I was suddenly vice chair one day.
It's been around a while.
Yeah, but there was no, like, I know we took a vote, but there was no recording of the vote from the minutes.
No.
Oh.
Does
Really?
that have to be followed?
When the vote was taken, there was none? The meeting that it happened?
Do you remember which meeting it was?
I think it was whichever one was the last one where I was just club member.
I'll look into it. I'm not.
Yeah, it was like November or something.
All right, well, that's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, it should have been noted in the record at least somewhere that it happened officially. And so I'll say that part out loud. So we will double check that, and then if there is a correction that needs to be made to whichever minutes, I think we can get that to Kate. Yeah, so
Yeah, I'll see what the procedure is for
Ms.
this.
Duquette, our supervisor secretary. Once he keeps like Kathleen, my wife's name is Kathleen Duquette. So, okay, so
That's what I know.
I'm not sure if Pam's back yet, but anyway, so Don, any comments about minutes?
You want to sit over here?
Nope, they were fine.
Okay. James, okay, any minutes, comments?
No,
Okay.
everything's good.
All right, so accept motion to accept the December 10th and January 14th minutes as provided to us by our esteemed Republic Secretary, Mrs. Duquette. James has made a motion. Steve is seconding it.
Yes.
And any other discussion about? Okay, James,
Aye.
Steve, Ariane, Nicole,
Hi.
Pam, if you're back. Minutes approved.
No, she's still muted.
Okay, so what can we?
And I,
And Don, aye. Okay, thank you.
I'm
And
so
Mike, aye.
glad Hannah could join the commission.
Yeah, welcome to the newest member. Could you put that in for the record? The new old vice chair for the record
Yeah.
that provide that. Okay,
COC and Bernier.
yeah, let's jump to that one. So that's another easy one potentially. So we have,
We're just signing that, right?
Yep.
so we actually have to vote to issue an invalid order of conditions, and then we'll sign it. This is something we haven't had to do, but it is one of the things right on the DO.
CFC.
See, thank you. Form that is an option we just didn't really have to do for a long time like that. Because this project was never started and it's about to expire. Is it expiring this month, Anna?
I think it already
Or
expired.
may have already expired.
Yeah.
So since it's expired, we need to formally close it out in this way, and then we'll sign off
What's
on
the
that.
language of it for the motion?
Which is, I think you can just say vote to issue an invalid order of conditions.
So we're voting to issue, or I will make a motion. We issue an invalid order of conditions.
A second.
Bernier Lane.
Okay, we have a motion and a second by Nicole. Thank you. Any other discussion? Pam, are you back? Okay, just checking. Can't tell from the T from there. If it was a face, I can tell. Okay, so motion and a second, no other discussion. This project never happened and never will unless they come back to us with a new one.
Don't
James,
say that. Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Marianne,
Aye.
Nicole,
Aye.
Don,
Aye.
Mike, aye. Okay, so that's the unanimous vote. We will then, we have enough members here signed. Don, you don't need to stick your hand through the screen or anything.
Thank you. It's hard.
We're doing I won't say what kind, paper version of this.
Can we skip 43 Easy Street until you actually go and do your site visits?
That was just kind of
There you go, Mike.
updating you guys that was issued and didn't know if anybody would maybe want to join or have time or felt the need to, but
Yeah.
it might not even happen because
I'm free that day.
the amount of snow out there is crazy.
That's a
It
Monday.
may not be easy to get through Easy Street is what you're saying.
I don't know, I put the-
February 2nd,
Yeah.
Wednesday.
Oh, it's next Wednesday.
Maybe in like April.
You're busy and.
Might be right.
What is it? Okay, so we have the signing the Sunken Meadow Road permit extension, which we discussed and approved at the meeting on the 14th, I believe. They needed a 3-year extension because the project got delayed for other reasons, and this is the one that's around the Franklin Town line. I remember walking it and using. And they're looking for a 3-year approval, extension rather, which we approved verbally at the last meeting. This is just signing off on that. And that's being passed around as well. So we all right. And then we have assigning the Lake Hiawatha Drainage Project Order of Conditions as well, which we have discussed. I won't say ad nauseam quite a bit. And that is also being signed off on here today, correct?
Yep, and if you had any, I drafted that orders of conditions, but if you guys had any notes.
Oh, yeah, that was in the
before
portal.
it gets signed, just.
Did you see that in the portal? The Lake Hiawatha Drainage Project order of conditions? Things like straw bales, moving things away in the middle of the road. Anybody have any questions about the draft form, or if they're good with it, then we can just sign off on it?
Yeah, I didn't have any.
It looked good to
Any
me.
issues with what you saw in the portal there? For the
Mhm.
Lake Hiawatha order of conditions, the drainage project town's doing?
Looked fine.
Okay. Want to make sure you have a chance, Pam, if you're back?
I'm back. Yeah, it looked fine
Pam's
to me.
back. Yep.
Did you have a chance to see the Lake Hiawatha Drainage Project order of conditions in the portal?
Yes.
Okay, you have any issues, questions, or because we're signing on it tonight, if you don't have any issues?
No issues.
Okay, we have enough people sign on it, so you guys don't have to worry about it. You two offline there. We have a paper copy going around tonight, just so that you're wondering at the shuffling of paper noises. And I think the items that are in the other business are all been covered. We're passing over, Pam, in case you weren't here. James' request, the 43 Easy Street notice of violation. Because until after the sidewalk has happened, there's no rush to do it. So people have a chance to see it, and that's scheduled for February 3rd, I believe. Fourth.
Whatever is in the report.
2/4 next Wednesday.
2/4, sorry, 4th. If you're.
What time?
3:30. They're available as late as possible, so.
Just gonna, yeah, it's a lot of snow.
Yeah.
We will reschedule it.
There may be some frozen chicken patties out there. We'll see about chicken.
Here it's supposed to snow this weekend.
Potentially, we'll see.
I will not be there. I will be in Boston, so never mind.
Yeah, so just
Okay, thanks.
before we close,
Yeah,
just did want to note, like with the whole snow thing, a lot of field work is kind of being pushed off. So if we're
What?
looking from people and stuff like that, a lot of that has been delayed, or like me going out to, if we get new notices or anything, we're probably gonna have some weather delays before we can confirm any wetland lines or anything like that. So there's gonna be some setbacks there.
don't be surprised.
And the only other thing, oh, sorry.
No, I was gonna say, the only surprise I would have is some applicants would really expect us to go out and make some review. It does happen. I think we've had one or two applicants.
No, but.
Yeah.
Too
You
much
can't,
is going on.
do this?
The only other thing I wanted to note is we will have a significant number of NOIs coming in soon. They're
Yay.
finally getting started at Red Mill on Charles. Toll Brothers took over, so they're gonna be starting with all of the, we had like a pre-application meeting with planning department and everything, and just so they could ask some questions and let us know that they were, getting started with submitting those NOIs, so.
They
That's gonna
doing
start
it-
coming, and there's
Are
a lot of.
they doing it piecemeal or are they gonna do like them all at one thing?
They're gonna try to batch them, so like there might be 3 or 6 or 8, depending on.
The overall project, has Rob told you whether they're gonna try to do the road behind the town hall up to Walgreens and Light project part of it first, or the access to blowing out the cliff and blasting away through to 140?
I'd have to
First.
look at the project schedule.
Just curious.
So I'll start putting all
What
those
is this
documents in the
project?
portal. It's a big housing development that's back there, so.
It's happening really behind town hall, and it's big enough to go almost all the way over to, you know where, what's the warehouse, big warehouse that's coming out by,
WS.
no,
That's fine.
on 140. Right opposite the Curtis Apartments.
Oh, is that Trimark?
Trimark, yes, thank you. So if they're getting that cliff that, the road that goes into Trimark there with the lights, that cliff that's there, they're gonna blast right through that, and that's where it's gonna connect through. But it'll go all the way over behind town hall and come up with the road back here. So that's the 2 ways in and
I
out.
thought that was I thought that was forever ago.
Yeah, it was.
That's gonna be
It was
a
a
long
decent
project.
while ago, but yeah.
The
So,
developers, money issues, whoever, but now it's moving forward again. So
yep.
it'll impact things that will affect the center of town here, traffic, and it'll be a nightmare, both ends, but at both ends. I just pity the people that are in that poor house that is right next to the road there. But that's okay. Side note, go ahead, public.
But yeah, just letting you know that that's coming down the line, so we're gonna have a large
Gonna be
number of them
gameplay
coming in.
for it.
There's gonna be a lot of paperwork involved, so it's
It's
just
convenient.
batch.
That's good.
Are you?
Eventually, not anytime soon.
So if there's if there's so many NOIs, they're planning on a lot of wetland intrusion.
So the base of most of it has already been permitted through the original permit for the development, but each house lot still needs to, for the structures and everything, it needs its own NOI. So the like base clearing and everything, that was already
For
permitted.
roads and stormwater, all that's been
And some of
done.
the like
Yeah.
housing lots were mapped out, and some of the base ones were like the.
Do you remember
That's
roughly
limited development.
how many of those lots are actually in our jurisdiction? Is it like all of them?
No, well, not all, but there are a lot, and I can't
How many
remember
are
off the top of my
taxes
head, but I think it's like 48 or 58 or something.
Out of the
So,
127 on single family homes, what about the big townhouse, or not apartment, but townhouse type units?
I'm not sure, so I can upload a bunch of
that
this
information.
information to the portal. Just so you guys can start looking at it, and if you weren't on the commission, which I don't think most of you were, you can kind of just familiarize yourself with the project.
How many
Just
units?
look at that there. How come they don't? I'm not
There was
sure.
over 100 some odd single family homes, and then there was some additional large buildings that had, say 20 units in them or something, townhouse units, type units that were gonna be along one of the roads too, so it's a combination of single family and townhouse type units. But it was very large.
I also
They
don't
have their
know a
own
lot of this
NOI.
information off the top of my head, so
Why do they
I
have
have
to
to
have their
look
own?
into it a little bit more.
Why did I have to have their own
It's been
NOIs?
a decade.
Yes, Tina?
Oh, that's just how Massachusetts does it.
It's so
It's-
weird,
it's
like
a
that
very
really
odd
sounds like,
system, but
That sounds like what we talk about with like project segregation.
Yeah,
Segmentation,
yeah, but that's just how it's done in Massachusetts.
Segregation, segmentation, right, yeah.
Come up with a lot of different projects in town, and that's just how Massachusetts, that's how you process
What,
it,
you
which
mean,
is
even
weird.
separating housing lots?
Instead of doing like the whole thing as one project and all of the houses included on that, yeah, you have to have its own NOI for each house.
Yes,
like you-
well, it's because some people take property ownership before the duties of the NOI or your order of conditions have been fulfilled. So that's why each individual property owner needs to have their own order of conditions.
Still makes it all very.
Oh, it's annoying.
Yeah.
It's annoying, but it's better than one of the
Individual
Yeah.
order conditions based on the original NOI or something like.
So Hannah, on this project, I assume at this point, you probably haven't had a chance to review the order of conditions for the original NOI.
I've looked at it a little bit, but I don't have most of that
Is
information that
there a lot, is it gonna require a lot of site visits for confirmation of following them? And
don't
I
think
think
we
the
did a lot.
resource edges are still confirmed by the NOI. If the NOI is still active, those resource areas are still confirmed by that NOI. So it shouldn't take a ton of site visits. I mean, I think it would still be helpful to do site visits in general for.
make sure they're in compliance.
Oh, yes, yeah. And I mean, they have started, the project has been started, so we get those SWIP
This is one that
reports.
had a large amount of town support, correct? In its timeline?
Pretty sure.
The phenomenal question at the time was why, and the second was, how much is it gonna impact the center of town? Because they're adding basically a new road up right behind town hall.
Well, it was a big push for why they redid Main Street. Because they're gonna have additional traffic.
Great job with that.
And how they're gonna keep people from, I asked Rob this question, how they keep people from coming up the existing road, Mill Street, which they've been using to haul out a lot of gravel over the last year or two. As they get the site cleaned up or take stuff off the site as they want to, but our previous developer. Anyway, so we'll have a big impact. Anything else you want to update us on? Because we shouldn't back to those two.
Keep it, yeah, just trying to keep it, surface level there, but, yeah, no, that's really the main gist of it. Other than just a reminder to everyone that we will be not meeting on the 11th,
Did
which
we-
Mike said right at the start. So
Did we vote?
Yep.
Okay,
Yes,
wanna make
yep.
sure we can-
we
'cause
need a
it's only-
vote so that nothing would be at this meeting. We wouldn't have the issue with the continuations.
I'm still probably show up accidentally. So.
Yeah, if you show up, have a good time sitting here looking around.
So I'll show up at the first. We get the-
Okay,
That's what I did in January.
I will, as much as people want to hang out here, accept a motion to end the meeting so incredibly early that you don't want to do it yourselves.
Yeah.
Go home and watch the Celtics or something.
Motion to adjourn made.
By James has made motion. We need a second or was it?
Seconded.
Wait, I can't two make people at the same time. Somebody volunteer. Don, you can.
I'll second.
Hey, Mr. New Hampshire, thank you. Okay, any discussion? No, okay, James.
Aye.
Steve. Aye. Marianne.
Aye.
Nicole.
Aye.
Pam.
Aye.
And Don.
Aye. Thank you all.
All right, thank you.